Hello, and welcome to the BYU Family History Library webinar series. We're glad you could join us today. I'm Anna Allred, and I'll be your host for this webinar. If you have technical difficulties during the webinar, please use the chat box, and I can address your concerns. You're welcome to use the chat box during the webinar for comments, insights, and questions. However, all questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Our next webinar will be on July 28th with James Tanner on discovering your ancestors using federal census records. If you would like to access a previous webinar, please visit our webinar index on our website or search on our YouTube channel. All of our webinars are recorded and uploaded by the following Monday for your convenience. We also post links to recordings and other updates on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. For today's webinar, we are pleased to hear from Curt Witcher, who will be giving a presentation. It is effective use of Allen County's Public Library Genealogy Center with Curt Witcher. Curt Witcher is the Director of Special Collections at the Allen County Public Library in Fort Wayne, Indiana, managing the widely acclaimed Genealogy Center as well as the Lincoln Financial Foundation collection of Abraham Lincoln-related research materials. He is in his 42nd year of service at the Allen County Public Library. Curt is a former president of both the Federation of Genealogical Societies and the National Genealogical Society, and the founding president of the Indiana Genealogical Society. He has penned many hundreds of articles on topics of interest to family historians, librarians, and archivists, and has presented lectures to historical and genealogical groups across the country. Curt also serves on the Indiana State Historical Records Advisory Board and the Board of the Friends of the Indiana State Archives, as well as the Board of the Friends of the Lincoln Collection of Indiana. And Curt, if you are ready, we will turn the time over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Anna. It really is wonderful to be with you this evening. I'm going to share my screen here, and you can let me know if you don't see this, but I think it should be up and running. What an honor. What an honor to be with all of you this evening. I guess it's early evening your time, a couple hours later my time, but it's always a good time to spend some time talking about family history, about our ability to do it successfully, and to enjoy the process. Now, some of you may have been to a presentation about how to effectively use this library or that library, and you may have kind of a preconceived notion about, boy, this is going to be a sleepy presentation. I hope to prove you wrong. What I like to do in my presentations is not only expose the materials that we have here in Fort Wayne, but how you can get access to those materials from wherever you are in the world, including the great BYU campus. And I like to fold in some methodology along the way. I did provide a handout for this. It's a handout that really doesn't need to be used with the presentation, but it's kind of the evergreen side of the presentation. And I think Anna's going to post a link to that. So you don't need to worry about taking a lot of details about what we have because that's in the handout, but maybe remembering some of the methodology that we talk about in addition to what we have here and how you can most successfully use it. I wanted to make one just brief announcement. I love doing virtual presentations from my office here at the Allen County Public Library. This time of day, though, we will be interrupted 3 times with closing announcements. So if I go mute for 15 to 21 seconds, it's to save you from a pretty monotonous closing announcement. But we can literally go on till midnight Eastern Daylight Time. And I know you probably don't have that on your calendar for today. So don't worry about those brief little pauses. So let's get started. I think a question that many people have is why a genealogy center here in Fort Wayne? So first of all, why a genealogy center? I think all of you can answer that question here this evening because you're at this presentation. But you might think, why Fort Wayne, Indiana? Not that numbers mean anything or mean all that much, but as far as total resources, and I think level of commitment to family historians, the Genealogy Center here in Fort Wayne is second behind the Family History Library in Salt Lake City. Why do you have a genealogy center? Personally, I believe in the power of story, and that's what genealogists do. You're trying to find your story, your ancestors, your family, as far back as you can, and all that context that goes with your family, not just begats and begots, but what people actually did, what life was like. Because if we only chase hatched, matched, and dispatched, if we only chase birth, marriage, and death records, we're going to run into a lot of brick walls. We're going to come to some dead ends that we may have a challenge solving. So we want to be the most effective researchers possible. So why a genealogy center? Because we want to help people find their stories. Why Fort Wayne, Indiana? That's an interesting story that we won't touch upon a whole lot this evening, but it's all about serving customers who want to do family history. So we had an eccentric director in the mid 20th century, a couple of generations ago, who thought that genealogists were underserved library customers. And he said, I don't care what else happens. I'm going to have some librarians here in Fort Wayne that know how to spell genealogy, which for some people is a trick, and also know how to do genealogy and help other people engage in family history. And that was like a match to dry wood. Things just took off. And we have a collection that, again, is second in size to the Family History Library in Salt Lake City. So as that third bullet point says, the collection followed the concept. If you really want to serve people well, the collection will almost follow with a lot of dedication and some resources. So that's a quick backstory, if you will, about why should you care about Fort Wayne, Indiana, a genealogy center? Because it's fairly big and we have a fairly significant commitment to serving family historians and genealogists. This slide here with the few bullet points, it's going to populate it. I hope you can make this, and maybe already have made it, and kudos to you if you have, made it part of your research plan. Plan your work and work your plan. Whether you're going into a small county historical society, whether you're going into the awesome library there at BYU, or the Mecca of genealogy in Salt Lake City or Fort Wayne, Indiana, if you don't have a plan, if you don't say, this is what my research goals are for today, and then here's my secondary goals, just in case I run into some major roadblocks that I'm not expecting, plan your work. And then when you get to a research facility, work your plan. Don't forget about your plan. What are the record sets that are extant? I like to tell people, no matter what library or society you're going to visit, whether it's a historical society in a small rural place in Tennessee that's no bigger than your dorm room, or it's as big as the Family History Library, you really should have a plan, and you should visit that repository virtually before you visit it physically. If all a repository has on its website is its hours and maybe even conditions for research, that's good to know going in. Most high 80% of websites, even for small organizations, have kind of the rules of the road and an online guide, catalog, index, something to help you plan your work ahead of time. So planning your work, really important for any kind of family history research. Secondly, if you're on a major site, and I would argue that the Allen County Public Library's Genealogy Center is a major site, Family History Library is, BYU's library is, take time to play, time to discover. Now, what specifically do I mean by that? To some people, that sounds a little foolish, but as the slide says parenthetically, searching is not the same everywhere. In fact, it's almost guaranteed different everywhere. So when you come to Family History Library's online catalog and you search for a surname or a geographic location or an ethnic group or a religious group, your search results, how you put together Boolean searches is different than if you're researching in the Allen County Public Library's catalog. So when I say take time to play, see what databases are available to you remotely. See how the catalog works. In most repositories of any size, a catalog, an index, or a calendar is going to be your access key, your access point to the collection. That's really of great consequence to search that ahead of time. You can get over some of your frustrations. One frustration is, oh my gosh, this doesn't look anything like I've ever used before. What were they thinking when they got this catalog? Our catalog right now is a relatively new catalog, and it's still in development, and it frustrates the staff here. So expect to be frustrated. It's nice to kind of get a rhythm down. Okay, this is kind of a janky catalog. What terms do I use? Can I nest the terms? How do Boolean operators work? How do I make this catalog work for me? So that's really of quite significant consequence. Take time to play. And please remember, in your searching, we focus a lot on surnames, right? That makes sense. I'm looking for Witchers, Gogels, Englert, Shooks, Joneses, Browns, whatever surname you're interested in. Please remember that there are other search keys. When catalogers and indexers create metadata, kind of tags to go along with the physical item or the virtual database, oftentimes they will use other than or addition to surnames. They'll use geographic location or ethnicity or religion, occupation, time period. Please remember all of those search keys when you're using an online catalog. Sometimes, for example, my major surnames, Witcher, Englert, Gogol, Shook, I almost never find those in a catalog searching on those surnames. But if I search for Germans, if I search for German Catholics, if I search for German Catholic, Southern Indiana, or just general Indiana, if I use those other search terms, I will find a lot of information. I hope this isn't new to you. I hope it's a part of your methodology in being a good, effective researcher. And I think you have more fun that way. Plan your work, take time to play in the online tools that are provided free on any repository site. And remember those major search keys in addition to one of your surnames or all of your surnames. So at the Allen County Public Library's Genealogy Center, we really want to be your research assistant. So we're adding to the physical collection over 500 items each month. We do spend a lot of time, what we call doing enhanced cataloging for the materials in our collection. Enhanced cataloging means we just don't have a title, an author, and one or two subjects. We try to index all the major surnames. So if the title page says your Witcher, Englert, Brownlee, Gogol, Smith, and Jones family, you'll be able to find that book under all those surnames. But you will also be able to find the book under what states and counties are a major part of that compilation. And you'll also be able to find it under other key factors, like if it's a military book, what war, if there's a prominent religion, whether Catholic or Lutheran or Anabaptist, that will be traced. So enhanced cataloging, really important to us and real helpful to you as a researcher. We also have been doing for a quarter of a century or more, actually more than a quarter century, subject indexing of the periodicals that we hold in our collection. And we have created what's called Percy, or the Periodical Source Index. Fourth quarter this year, we're going to have an amazing announcement. We're going to make that index freely available to everyone. And we have over 3 million subject entries in there. So we continually do things to make our collection more accessible, more useful to you. We have programs and consultations all the time, numerous free virtual programs every month. And there'll be a slide at the end of this presentation that shows what's on tap for tomorrow and next week, if you happen to be interested. So when we say research assistant, what do we mean? We're building our physical collection, we're cataloging it, so no matter where you are in the world, you know what we have here specifically. If you can't travel here, we can help you find sources in that book. We have other indexes that you can find, and we do have consultations that we do on a regular basis. So you know a little bit about how you can get things from this collection. We're not an Ancestry, we're not a Familysearch, although we have a wonderful partnership with Familysearch, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But we do have what we call an outlier database. We're going to pause for one of those closing announcements here. There, I just spared you from one of 3 more closing announcements. I was saying about our free searchable databases. So we have about 5 million records, which doesn't compare at all to Familysearch's, 10 billion. searchable records, but these are databases and files and digital books that other entities haven't put on their website. So they're kind of outliers since it's free to search, and there's a federated search across all of these small little databases, and all of them are in our library catalog. So why not take advantage of them? Again, that's our goal, to make us your research assistant. So we're going to appear to be frozen here. Let's see if we can advance. There we go. I want to take you on a quick look at the Genealogy Center's webpage. This would be as if we were scrolling from the top of the page to the bottom of the page. So this is the top third. This is the middle third of the page, and this is the bottom of the page. There's a lot of information buried on this page. Well, we hope not buried, but presented, let's say, on this page. Let's take a closer look at that information. So at the top third of the page, it's a design that we in the Genealogy Center didn't do and don't really control, but the online catalog for the Genealogy Center and the entire rest of the library is this first search box in this red or maroon square where you see my cursor moving left to right or back and forth. In this search box, you can put any of those search terms. You can put a title of a book if you know it, but seriously, how many of us know the exact title of the book that we're interested in? We're going to put our surnames, right? We're going to put Witcher family, Smith family, Jones family, or Du Bois County, Indiana, or Walla Walla County, Washington. We can also put in cities: Seattle, Washington, Richmond, Virginia, Miami, Florida. And then whatever we put in this search box, we can click on this find button, and it will execute a search throughout or over the entire library catalog. And we'll click on a genealogy button that will narrow all those search results to genealogy. So right up here, you put in your search term and execute a search. I'll show you an example of that in a moment. But I wanted to point out this right underneath here that's almost hidden by the square I put around this top right part of the Genealogy Center webpage. And this is where you can search across all of our free databases. So you can search across 5 million records right here. You do that search basically the same way, only with a more conservative number of terms. So in the catalog, it's really important to put the word family after a surname, if that's what you want. Witcher family, Smith family. Down here in our searchable databases, right underneath the catalog search box, I would put Witcher or Smith or Jones or Walla Walla. More conservative terms will get you a better search. I'm going to pause here to say, with a lot of databases, large ones like Ancestry and Fold3 and MyHeritage and Familysearch, oftentimes less is more. The more terms we put into a search page or a search grid, oftentimes we're knocking out or we're eliminating some possibly good search results, but just something for you to keep in mind when you're thinking about search strategies, about what you'd like to or how you'd like to craft your search. So in the top right corner of the genealogycenter.org website, search the catalog, search our free databases. So here's a close-up of that. Again, catalog search. See that radio button clicked? Put your term in here, search our free databases. You can put that term in the free databases search box. 3 pointers I want to tell you. Number one, see this login button up here at the top? Ignore it. It's not needed. It's a login. If you had an Allen County Public Library card, if you did, you could log in, and there's zero benefit to logging in, even for local residents. So what's the point? Most of you don't have Allen County Public Library cards. And because you don't live in Allen County, it would cost you $85 a year to have an Allen County Public Library card, and it would get you nothing additional than the free access to the website. So that's just for local residents who want to borrow material like Hoopla and Frigo, popular fiction material, movies, DVDs, etc. So long story short, ignore the login, not necessary. First search box, I just told you, catalog for the system. Sometimes your search results may look a little wonky because you're getting titles from all across the system. So you execute your search first, and then second, click on genealogy as a location, and that just narrows all your search terms right down to genealogy. The second search box, as I told you, is the Federated Search across our just over 5 million records. Hope that makes sense. This is a 24/7 entry key to our collection. Or some of you might think of it as an insomnia buster. I can't get to sleep, it's hot. What should I do? Hey, I'm going to go explore the Genealogy Center's holdings by looking in the catalog, by looking on the free databases. As I said before, take time to play. This is what an entry looks like if we were interested in the Gleason family. Here's the descendants of Thomas Gleason. Gleason Sr., kind of a Victorian era title because it's so long. And then you have a little bit of data down here, the author, the subjects, and a little bit about the book itself. I want to pause for just a nanosecond on subjects here. Any subject that is blue is actually a link, and you can click on any one of these families and it will take you to a complete list of that surname's holdings that we have in our collection. That can be a neat way of bouncing around to see if you have collateral lines or related families to this Gleason family. That's what I mean or meant earlier when I said we do a lot of cataloging for this book. So for all of our books. So even though this is a Gleason family, you'll find all these other families prominently described or with a prominent number of individuals in this book. This book would also be traced under New Albany and Floyd County, Indiana. If we clicked on the More Information button, we would be presented with a screen or more of data about the book itself. And you can see again, you have information, publishing information, other types of data, title, subtitles. So there's a lot of additional information you can get about the book. Just another example to show you some links. I was looking for colonial records for Connecticut, and this was one of my search results. You can see quite a few number of volumes here. If we clicked on more information, we would get exactly what it says, more info. But toward the bottom of the more information screen, oftentimes you have to scroll a little bit, you will find links to any portion of a monographic series, any portion of a periodical, or if a single monograph is digitized, you will find links right there in the catalog record. So only 2 volumes, volume 3 and volume 4 of this particular publication are digitized that we are aware of. And we put those links in our catalog so we can click on one of those links. And here we are with volume 3 of the Public Records of the Colony of Connecticut. This link in our catalog took us from our catalog to the Internet Archive, one of our digitizing partners. So when you think of Genealogy Center and the catalog, this really can be your key to more information. We're going to pause just for a moment. The closer we get to closing, the shorter the announcements are, and what a blessing that is. So we went from our catalog, clicked on a link, and went right into the Internet Archive. We have over 110,000 entities from our collection freely available in the Internet Archive. And all those links are in our catalog. Even though it's still a catalog in development, all those links are still in our catalog. What I like about the Internet Archive presentation is wherever you have a search box above the title in Internet Archive, you can execute a surname search or any ASCII search, any string of characters you can put in there, and it will search through the text if it's been OCR'd. And they OCR everything they possibly can. Notice all these bubbles, these little yellow bubbles at the bottom. Those tell me every instance of Williams in this volume 3 monograph. And if you mouse over any one individual bubble, you'll get this little square and about 10 lines of description that you see at the bottom of that slide there. So you can quickly look through things for surnames, geographic locations, any other keyword that you think would be applicable to your family history research in this particular publication. I get excited about that. I like the Internet Archive presentation because one, I have this searchable option, pops up all these bubbles. I can mouse over any bubble and get what that's pertaining to, the context, if you will. Over here toward the bottom, I can advance, I can enlarge. I like to point out this film strip view, those 4 squares, and we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. Many times, can we read this? Usually not, unless you have really great eyes. But when you have a long publication, a large publication, I should say, many hundreds of pages, just quickly going through a film strip view can show you where the chapter breaks are, can show you where there might be a list of names where my mouse is kind of rolling around toward the center, can show you where the index starts, can show you where the bibliography starts. And all you need to do is click on any one page and it brings that page forward so you can actually read that and begin paging back and forth from that particular point. So if I click on this page that I was just rolling around with my mouse, there's the actual page, and we can actually see lists of individuals, and we can go back and forth to find the right context for those names. So like that a lot. In addition to our catalog for our microtext collection, we call it a special microtext catalog, the Genealogy Center microtext catalog, but it's really an access database that we pushed online. Sometimes with our microtext collection, having a second finding aid, a second tool that we can use is really of huge benefit because, as I said at the beginning, not all catalogs work the same. Indeed, a better statement would be no catalog works the same as any other catalog that you've used. So you can click on states or military or city directories and really hone in just on that record type or just on that subject in our microtext collection. So if I did a particular state, in this case, Pennsylvania, it lines up all the counties in alphabetical order. I see a record type. I see a title of the microfilm, how many rolls, the size of the roll, and then what section in our microtext collection you can find it. Anything that's a link, you can click on and it will give you more information. So for the corners, inquisitions, it's on 3 rolls of microfilm, and you can tell here the date ranges each roll contains, much like the Family History Library's catalog and all the film there. If I wanted to use the military section, I would pick a war that I'm interested in. It's a Civil War, which is a pretty lousy search to conduct in this microtext catalog because there's tens of thousands of rolls of Civil War material. Look at the size of some of these collections. But again, we can click on any link and get more specific data. Free databases. Just wanted to show you what the free database page looks like. And we're going to pause one more time. So blessings, the library is now closed, so we won't have to be interrupted anymore. So we can execute a search across all of our free databases. So I search for the name Brownlee. I just wanted to show you what search results look like. It will show you every single category of our free databases and how many Brownlees are in that database. So that's a nice way of the search mechanism helping you narrow your search results. And we can pick one of those. And I picked the one from the Marcia Smiley collection. We see this link over here. Here's all the ASCII that was searched. There's the Brownlee name. This is kind of the ASCII. It's dirty ASCII, so what you see is what you get. But you have a link over here where you can click on that link and then go to the page where the Brownlees are listed, and you can move back and forth within this digital asset. So it's kind of a clever way of quickly seeing whether our 5 million plus records in our free databases might benefit your research. You might be surprised what you find, and that grows literally all the time. So we've spent a lot of time, maybe too much time. I hope you don't think so, but we spent a lot of time looking at this top portion here. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit, but I want to show you some more research benefits of using the genealogycenter.org website. So where I have moved my red bar to is where there's a lot of good information. So we're going to enhance this a little bit. We'll kind of enlarge that bar. What's under Explore Genealogy? Under Explore Genealogy, you have these four things: our resources, Family History Archive, plan your visit, our services. We're going to take a look at the Family History Archive in a moment. Under Genealogy Community, we have quick bios for all our genealogy librarians. The next two things, the one that's highlighted and the one right underneath it, I think are really important. We welcome questions, no matter where you are in the world. Since we've been enjoying billionaires taking off into space, I can say no matter where you are in the Milky Way galaxy, if you have an internet connection, you can send us a question and we will at least give you some general guidance, if not more than that. So I always want to highlight our Ask a Genealogy Librarian question. If you don't like the search results you're getting in our catalog, it's confusing, you don't know where you might want to go next, zip us off a quick email question. We answer every email that we get. Right underneath there, you see Genealogy Gems. We publish a monthly newsletter on the last day of every month. You can sign up to receive that. It's a quick read. Either we cover resources you're interested in or we don't. A quick click on the delete key and you're done. But it's a great way to stay up on our virtual programming and to see about new additions and legacy parts of the collection. If we move on across that bar on our main page, Life Stories, this is a fairly small but growing collection of local Northeast Indiana life stories. You may not be interested in any of these life stories at all, but if you have 11 minutes, this third link here, Advice for Communicating, Listening, and Interviewing. It's a wonderful TED Talk. It's all of 11 minutes. I would argue that it'll probably be the best 11 minutes you've spent in a long time listening to Celeste talk about how we can be better listeners, how we can communicate better, and how we can interview better. And if we're doing oral history, if we're trying to find our family stories and we're talking to relatives, distant or close, we're talking to relatives older than us or younger than us, wow, listening, communicating, interviewing skills, pretty important. It's a great lesson. Under Pathfinders, we have snapshots. That's kind of giving you a quick look at some of the most important publications, resources that we have for states, general subjects, and international. It's just a small listing of what we have, but it kind of whets your appetite, kind of gives you an idea of, oh, these are the kinds of materials they're collecting. And I think it helps us be better users of the catalog. And I think I have license to say this as a librarian. Most library catalogs, most archival catalogs are not user-friendly. It's almost like a requirement of a library catalog. Be difficult and impossible to use. And I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, but they're not like Amazon. They're not like Google. They're very, very difficult to use. I hope I live long enough to see a great catalog with a wonderful user interface that's intuitive and does great hinting. Wouldn't it be nice if you logged into a catalog, the Allen County Public Library Genealogy Center catalog, and you did a lot of research, searching in McCracken County, Kentucky, and maybe in Floyd County, Indiana. And then the next time you logged in, it said, hey, we remember that last time you were in 4 months ago, you were interested in McCracken County, Kentucky. We have 3 new resources for that county. Would you like to see them? Like Amazon does, like Google does. We're not there yet, but I know Familysearch is working on it. And a number of the libraries are working on a much more intuitive interface. But I digress. Snapshots help get us a little closer. So this is an almost legible slide, which shows you just a snapshot of our state snapshots. Just click on whatever state that you're interested in just to see high level, very, very high level. Here are some of the major sources. It's kind of like a Cindy's list for state materials in our collection. So if we clicked on Kentucky, here are the general research guides for Kentucky. And then we just proceed in 3 to 5 screens or pages alphabetically through various subject titles. So African Americans, biography, census, cemetery, etc. I guess I should have said cemetery first and then census if we're doing alphabetical. Again, this is not a complete list. It's sort of like the snowflake on the tip of the iceberg. But again, it kind of gives you an idea of what general materials we have and how you might look for more specific materials, county by county or parish by parish in the case of Louisiana. So these snapshots can be a really good guide for you in using the collection well. So we're moving down to the section of our website where we're looking at our resources. And we divide our resources, virtual resources, into two groups: free databases, and on your handout that I hope you download, it gives a complete list of our free databases. We're going to take a look at a few of them. And then our on-site databases like Ancestry, MyHeritage, Newsbank, Fold3, Ancestry. All those you have to be on-site to use those. We don't have a license to give the whole wide world access. I think Ancestry would probably charge us a couple $100 million to provide access to Ancestry.com for the whole world. So I say with a smile. So we're going to take a quick look at these databases and how we might more effectively use those databases. So this is a quick lineup of our free databases. We have an amazing African-American collection and a gateway that complements and maybe even supplements the catalog. So you have a better, easier way of finding materials. Because we are a library in Allen County, we have a lot of Allen County, Indiana records, but we know most people don't have family in Allen County. It's the largest county in Indiana, but Indiana is not the largest state, and certainly is a pathway to many states. Family Bible records, family resources, growing number of Bible records, and an exploding number of family resources. In 2021, we get more digital family histories than we get print family histories. And I can see that needle continuing to move. Whether it's a print family history or an online or virtual family history, both will be found in our library catalog. So you'll always want to use that catalog as your search key. But look for more and more of these family histories to be available to you at BYU, wherever you call home, or wherever you will call home for free. And we're really excited about that. Indiana resources, other state resources. And then we do like to pay attention to military records. Our military, we like to say when we're helping people do military research, every generation the possibility. So if you think about it, every single generation since colonial times to present day, we have had family members, collectively, we've had family members that have stood guard, been part of militias, laid down their lives for our ability to be a free society, for us to be able to live free. Every generation, there's a possibility that your ancestor participated in the joys that we get to share today. So we put a lot of emphasis in our print collection and our virtual collection on military records. So let's take a quick look through some of these. I'm going to give you some highlights. So it's not great, but again, I'm going to say, I think for the third or fourth time, all of our online databases are findable, discoverable in our online catalog. But if you click on other databases, the first thing you're going to be greeted with in the top left-hand corner of that web page are general resources. And these cover a multitude of states. So it's not like you can click on Virginia. Okay, here's all the Virginia resources, or Michigan, and here's all the Michigan resources. These general resources cover a wide swath of information, a wide swath of geographic areas. And I'm just going to point out a few just to kind of whet your appetite about why on our main page, it's worth your while every time you visit to search your surnames in that free database search box. So let's take a quick look here. One of the things I'm really proud of is our Evangelical Messenger Obituary Index. So one volunteer over a decade transcribed, abstracted is really the better word, the more accurate word, abstracted 100 years worth of obituaries from the Evangelical Messenger. It was a religious publication that covered the evangelical church. If you can think of sort of a half moon in states along the Great Lakes. So Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. In 10 years, this particular individual personally abstracted 194,000 evangelical messenger obituaries. And this is what is presented back to you when you do a search. The date of the paper, the image number on the microfilm. Regrettably, the organization that owns the intellectual property for the Evangelical Messenger Press has not made that available online. But what this particular volunteer did, Ann Budd, an angel of a person, transcribed, as you can see over here on the right-hand side, all the meaningful data, family members, officiants, etc., from these obituaries, and cross-referenced the names. So what an amazing, almost 200,000 records that you're really not going to find anywhere else in the world, except on the Genealogy Center's free database page. And all these names here are discoverable through that free database search. Another project that's about 6 years old that we're particularly proud of is what we call the Genealogy Tracers Obituaries. So we have close to 40,000 obituaries and homegoing programs for African Americans in the Ohio Valley area. And we continue to grow that collection all the time. What's neat about African American obituaries and homegoing programs and memorials is the memorials aren't just like those two-sided cards that we're used to. Most of them are 4 pages. Many of them are 8. A few of them are 16 or larger. I have just one quick image to show you. Bernice Margaret Jackson Tulliver. Notice up here the breadcrumb trail. Her homegoing program, 8 pages, 9 pages actually, in her homegoing program. So there's rich amounts of data. We know that Newsbank and other entities, Ancestry, have indexed all kinds of obituaries, but these obituaries almost defy the word obituary. They're so much bigger than what we think of when we think obituaries. So those are all searchable, and then the actual programs themselves are available. The National Archives, oh my goodness. We should do a session sometime on the National Archives. I would invite someone from the archives to give that session. What an amazing repository. And I have to say their frontline staff, the people that answer queries, are really top shelf. The National Archives website, completely different story. It's a difficult archive website to use. It's just so big. They have so many things. To say this as gently, but yet as truthfully as possible, it's a difficult website to find. And they go through these periods where they take down finding aids and they put them back up. They put them in this place. They put them in another place. So we actually have reference consultants with the National Archives share their finding aids, their descriptive pamphlets, their preliminary inventories, their research guides, their special lists with us, so that we would put them on our website, so that we would catalog them. And it was our shared aspiration that they'd be more discoverable if people could find them on our website, because they'll stay there. And on the National Archives website, whenever they pop up, whenever they're made available. So we've given a lot of time to putting in descriptive pamphlets of microfilm collections. Some have been digitized, many have not. So using the finding aids, I would just emphasize the first one, descriptive pamphlets, the publication guides, the inventories, and the research guides, really 4 important places just to look. Hey, do they have a microfilm publication, a set of microfilmed records that fit my time period, that fit what I'm interested in, immigration records, military records, other kinds of records? Remember, the federal government has been involved in so much since the founding of this country. There's a lot of military data in federal government records. So use those National Archive finding aids. There's a lot of great information here. And this is just the beginning of a long scrolling page of descriptive pamphlets. And you can actually keyword search through all of these collections because of the way we've put them up on the web. Will that keyword search the microfilm that the collections describe? No, it just keyword searches the titles and the descriptions of the collection so that you can find the right one that you may want to explore later when you can get to a repository that has these holdings. So just another great way to try to find more data for your research. Our military heritage is our attempt to really provide, again, not competing with Ancestry or Fold3, but to provide data sets that you're really not going to find anywhere else. Why aren't you going to find them anywhere else? Because they're really small. They're data sets that an individual has put together, or a small little society. You're going to see an example in a moment from an organization in Kokomo, Howard County, Indiana. It's just above the center of the state. Indiana's kind of a long state, just above the center. They didn't have anywhere else to publish this. It's too small for Familysearch to really bother with. It's way too small for Ancestry to bother with. What do you do with this electronic data? Give it to the Allen County Public Library or give us a copy. We'll post it on our website at no charge and make it available to anyone who's interested at no charge. So we kind of line up all the wars from the colonial wars up to present time with some general categories over here on the right-hand side. Search this site, roll call. Just to give you an example, if I had been live, I would have clicked on World War II. This is an individual. We have 6,600 pages of Glenn Baker's letters to and from the home front when he was in the Korean War, as well as World War II. And it's amazing. His first letter, because I've been babbling on so long, I just thought I'd share a little jocularity with you. So here's his first letter home. Took him longer to get to boot camp than he thought, and he's out of money. What parent can't appreciate that? Whether you've sent your son or daughter to college, whether they're off on a first venture. Oh my gosh, I didn't plan very well and I'm out of money. And he seems to be really exercised as you're glancing through this letter that he's really out of money. He's so exercised about it that he has a PS, tell everybody hi, but he's really interested in money. I love this second PS though. And again, I think every parent who has sent a child off can appreciate this with a smile. Send me something in a big box so I can send home some dirty clothes. We haven't been allowed to wash our clothes for days, etc. For a few weeks. I bet his drill sergeant will have some different plans for Glenn, not finding a big box, but finding a way to learn how to do his own laundry. So just a small little brief session of smiles there, but so many letters. Put up my father-in-law's dog tags. Why? Because I could. Because my great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren, whom I will never meet, now can see an ancestor's dog tags and what precious little information might be on those. We have another collection of World War II letters. This particular individual, Anna Dang, wrote to 6 different soldiers in World War II, and they wrote back to her. This is a collection of all the letters that are extant, and she married one of them. So it's pretty amazing. We do fun stuff. So whenever we run across a big poster, this is for the Spanish-American War, the 28th Light Battery of Indiana Volunteers. So we digitized that, we keyed the index, and then we linked it to where in the photograph. So if your particular ancestor of interest is here and has a photo link, you can click on that link and it will identify where that person is in this entire collection of images that are on that poster. So we do cool things, weird things, crazy things to try to make things fun, but also to help you discover. Consultations, we will do consultations. You can call us, you can email us. We'll do consultations over the phone, via email, via Zoom. I know I've gone on for a bit, so I may need to pick up the pace, but we link to these 5 entities because they're so important. So I'll pick up the pace a little bit, but these are in your handout. Can't say enough about the awesome partnership that we and other libraries have with Familysearch. Did you know that each one of you have a personal genealogical local history library of over 500,000 items? How do I know that each one of you do? Because that's how many books, just books, I'm not talking records and all the other wonderful things Familysearch has, 510,000 plus searchable, downloadable, free books on families and locations at familysearch.org, click on research and books. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Or just Google Family Search Digital Library. You get search results where you have a little bit of a catalog record over here. Here's all the various families in here. And then you click on the entity over here and we'll open up a window where you can read the book, download the book, search through the book. It's pretty amazing. We also link to familysearch.org, not just books. I hope this is really old news to all of you. I really do. I tell everyone when I'm talking about libraries, so I'm going to tell you, again, hoping that it's old news, the Family Search Research Wiki. Oh my goodness. To use poor English, you can't not use this. If you want to just make sure you're covering all the bases, if you've entered a new state or country of research, look in the Family Search Wiki. So many tips, so many links to online sources. This is a couple screenshots of the wiki for the state of Pennsylvania. Just amazing numbers of links. You can call this an insomnia buster. You can say, gosh, I can't get to sleep. I've waited for 5 minutes. Don't wait any longer. Get up, spend a couple hours going through Family Search. The third link that's on that family history archive is the Internet Archive. As I told you earlier, we have north of 110,000 items from our collection freely accessible in the Internet Archive. There's some overlap with Family Search, but a lot of unique material. When you get to the Internet Archive, don't just limit your search to the Genealogy Center's portion of that. Go back to the main archive page where you see that red arrow. You can search across their millions of books for a surname, for a town, for a military division, unit, regiment, so many ways of taking advantage of the Internet Archive. The fourth link is something that almost nobody uses. It's very, very small. We partnered with the Foundation for Online Genealogy, an awesome individual kind of built this wiki for us called We Relate. We hope that we could encourage libraries to use this as a virtual vertical file. We got very little traction. We probably didn't market it well, but there's still 2.5 million people in place, pieces of data on here. And just to show you a couple of screenshots, someone uploaded their family information. You can link pictures, document images, etc. People uploaded a photograph. This is from mid-20th century in Fort Wayne, Indiana. One person was identified when we posted the photograph. Now every single person there is identified except one person. So crowdsourcing can be amazing in our space. So many people I meet virtually and literally have either never heard of or never used Linkpendium. Cindy's List is solid and cited all over the place. Cindy's List has maybe 500,000 links to it. Linkpendium has 10 million. They have 1 million localities and over 9 million surname links. And I like the Linkpendium format for locations. Here's a quick screenshot of Virginia. They start out with projects. You pick a county, they show you the adjacent counties, and then they have an alphabetical lineup of record types. It's a really great way to explore what's available for countries, states, etc. When you come to the bottom of the Genealogy Center's page, I just want to point out our social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. It's a great way of figuring out what's new and going on as far as new books, records we get, and new programs that we're doing. Just another way to interact with us. On our YouTube channel, we have over 70 fairly recent videos, many of them from 2021. So again, if there's nothing piquing your interest on Netflix and Google, whatever, or the network channels, come to our YouTube page. We have presenters from all over the country, including the Chief Genealogical Officer for Family Search, David Rencher, an awesome individual. Did an Irish virtual presentation for us. Really excellent. So all kinds of great programs available to you. Speaking of programs, tomorrow evening, next Tuesday, and a week from tomorrow, these are virtual programs that we're doing freely available on our site. We use free a lot, so you can come and have a lot of success on our site. I want to go through this slide fairly quickly because I feel really passionately about it for our children's children. So I hope you have continued success effectively using not only the Genealogy Center, but repositories across the world because of the knowledge that you pick up along the way. What you have as far as your research, please ensure that it doesn't go to a landfill when you meet your demise. Please make sure it's shared with family members and shared with research repositories like ours, like the Family History Library, that care about research materials, materials that you no longer use or want. We've told people for years, we used to have to go to the National Archives or write to them and say, I want this Civil War pension. And we're sure it's our ancestor. We get it home, we do a little more research, and it's like, I spent $75 for this 200 pages of the Civil War ancestor, and it's not my family. Well, I guess I'll just toss that out. No. Send it to us or scan it and share it with us that way. We will post all those for free. So material you no longer want or use, we welcome data files of all sorts. We want to be part of your estate planning. And I know most of you would think, oh, he's talking dollars here. No, we're talking preservation here. So I want to be part of your estate planning. We don't want the possibility of any of your research to go into a landfill. So talk to your family about what you want done with your research materials. Just some projects that we've done as we've interacted with people and organizations. This was an organization in Southern Indiana. Look at all those links to church record ledgers that were just rotting. I shouldn't say rotting. They were deteriorating in an archive that really didn't know what to do with them. We helped them out. And it's great information. Indianapolis funeral home records. This was that Kokomo Howard County database of veterans I was telling you about. Just really neat things. Our two goals in the Genealogy Center: success and enjoyment. We want you to be successful, and we want you to have a great time doing family history here, whether here is physically here or here is virtual. So use our collection, engage our staff, and participate in our programs. I know I've taken just about the full hour. I didn't want to do that, but I get excited about sharing with you. If there are questions, Anna, I'm going to stop my screen share and see in the questions or the chat if there are any questions. Q&A. I do not see any questions, but maybe if Anna knows that there are some.
Yeah, we can just give him like a minute to see
Sure.
if anybody says anything.
Absolutely. As I
will
said,
just
I have
share my screen time.
I have till midnight, so I'm fine.
Okay, it looks like everything is good. Thank you so much, Curt Witcher. That was a wonderful presentation. And thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope you will join us for our next webinar, which will be on July 28th with James Tanner on discovering your ancestors using federal census records. And a recording of this webinar will be made available next week. You can view that on our YouTube channel or on our website. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email us at fhl_webinars@byu.edu or follow Facebook and Twitter. Oh, it looks like we have some chat. We have questions. Okay.
Sure.
So Ann Graves asks, my family came from Ohio and the hills of Kentucky. Do you have any data in Kentucky, KY?
Short answer is yes. Ohio has done an amazing job in publishing all kinds of records in print form. We have just about everything that Ohio has ever published, so you can use our catalog to see what kinds of materials we have in our collection, but also look at our free databases, which also should be listed in the catalog. And there are many repositories in Ohio that could benefit you as well. The Ohio Genealogical Society, you might want to visit their site for leads. Kentucky, The Kentucky State Library, State Historical Society, and the State Archives is a pretty powerful trifecta for Kentucky research. Again, looking in our catalog, you'll find thousands of materials about or on Kentucky, Kentucky counties, Kentucky families in our catalog. You also might want to take a look at the Familysearch digital book collection. Look under the counties in Kentucky that you're interested in. See what has been digitized out of our collection, out of the Family History Library collection. See what you have right at your fingertips through familysearch.org. That's a great way for both Ohio and Kentucky. So yes, those states are rich in resources.
Awesome, thank you. We have another question from Jenny. What YouTube video would you recommend to learn to use PERSI at the ACPL?
Great question. I don't believe there is a good YouTube video, so thank you for asking that question. I'm going to put that on my list. Actually, now that I think about it, there is one that was done, and I believe it's on our YouTube channel by our Percy supervisor, and that one is an excellent one. My mindset is already in the future for the new Percy, but our Percy supervisor, Adam Barone, did one. I'm going to think early, like first quarter, second quarter of 2020. So if you go to our YouTube page, you should be able to either search that or just quickly scroll down and look for those 5 letters, Percy. I'm quite sure it's there. If you have any trouble finding it, simply email us. It's genealogy at our 4 letters, ACPL, stands for Allen County Public Library, genealogy at ACPL.info, INFO, and we'll give you the exact link to that YouTube. Great question.
Lloyd asked, can you talk about the Percy Index? Can we get it on the ACPL website?
Another great question, and I glossed over Percy pretty quickly in the presentation because I knew I would be out of time, but I really enjoy these questions. So we had for several decades now license agreements with major information aggregators. So we had an agreement at one time with Ancestry, then we had an agreement with ProQuest. Those are large information aggregators. And right now we have an agreement that's winding down, that's ending with Find My Past. You can go to the Find My Past website and search the periodical source index. That's really the only place online where you can search Percy because of the license agreement. If you email us, there is a link where you can actually search it for free without being a Find My Past member, without paying anything. You can search the Percy index on Find My Past for free. Send us an email and we'll send you that link. Fourth quarter of this year, you will be able to find Percy on the Genealogy Center's website. I know that seems like a long time from now, but something for all of us to look forward to. I know we're really excited about it. We've wanted to make Percy widely available for free, and this finally we have an opportunity to do that. But send us an email, genealogy@acpl.info. We'll send you the link to get to search Percy for free, and in a few months we'll have the entire Percy index on our website. Thank you for that question.
Okay, and then Laura asked, when will you make the announcement for Percy?
I'm thinking, I wish it were sooner, but I'm thinking end of September-ish or the very first part of October.
Awesome, those are, oh, Linda asked, what was the Percy link?
What was the Percy link? You can find Percy on Find My Past, which is a large database. You can Google it or just put findmypast.com, come to their website, but they're going to want you to log in. So if you're not a member, just send us an email, genealogy@acpl.info, and we'll send you the link to get to Percy for free. I have a little plug here, Anna. If you subscribe to our free monthly newsletter, we have a little Percy article in there every month about a different type of information you can get from Percy. And in every one of those issues, we have that free link to search Percy without cost. So if you have one of those, but again, email us or contact us any other way, and we'll send you that free link.
Awesome, thank you. That is all of our questions. Thank you again for joining us. And for those who are still on, I'm going to send that handout again. And so that will link to the handout. And yes, we'll see you next week. And thank you, Curt Witcher.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.